Thank you very much, Ji. Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure, of course, to be here. I was here in the morning as well for the morning session. And it was a delight to see the level of discourse. And of course, Sardar Sahab, I had the honor of sitting with him at lunch as well. And also the speakers in the morning. So I feel like, in spite of my height of 6 feet, like a pygmy, but I shall still try to add my contribution to this. You see, I have taken I would like to think, a slightly different approach. And I'm trying to look at it from an angle where democracy, my topic of course is flashed right in front of you, democracy in the 21st century, social media tool for populism. When we started, for me these are the two poles. ये पूरा हो सकता है दोबारा? Screen पूरा हो सकता है तो कर दीजिए. For me, democracy are these two poles. Populism and democracy. For me, this is the debate, sorry. Can we say that you can have populism and you can have democracy? Or can we not? Or do we want democracy? Which of course means the will of the people, pluralistic society, listening to the marginalized, listening to the minorities, as Sardar Sahab just mentioned, living abroad as a minority. What does the Constitution do? What do the fundamental rights sections do? We call it fundamental rights. The Americans call it civil liberties. And in the international law domain, we call it international human rights law. Or norms, if you want to quibble on whether it's a law or not. But what does it do? It's the will of the people. And for the will of the people, there is a time lag. So जब हम स्टूडेंट थे और मैथ्स थोड़ी देर पढ़ी या स्टैटिस्टिक्स पढ़ी, so प्लस का साइन करते थे 2 + 2, so 4 would come up immediately. मगर अगर वो कॉस या साइन का प्रेस करते थे तो it would take a second or two and then the answer would come. Democracy requires that. It's not कि ये कानून है, ये चाहिए और बन गया. ये अच्छा है, मैंने कह दिया ना. Trust me, मैं जो आपसे कह रहा हूँ ये आपके लिए अच्छा है. That's not democracy. We don't need you to tell us what is good for us. We have chosen you to serve us. Give us a platform, give us your political manifesto, and let us then decide whether we want to give you and your party the opportunity to better serve us. And not tell us कि मैं हूँ ना. This is not democracy. Maybe that's populism. So populism requires a cult. Sardar Sahab ने जिक्र किया Robin Hood. Interestingly, I was educated at the University of Nottingham, from where Robin Hood was. Nottingham Forest and the Sheriff of Nottingham and all that. Now, this is where I'm framing it in. So I'm not going by exactly my slides, but I am making the point here, building on what was talked about in the morning as well. You see, democracy is not delivery. That's the human rights debate of the first generation human rights and the second generation human rights. That's what Mahathir Mohamad, that's what Lee Kuan Yew, that's what the others said, the Southeast Asian tigers. That's what they said. We will come to the first generation civil and political rights later. Let us give food, shelter, health first. You know, we thought that was passé. We thought we have seen that, we've done that, we've moved ahead. Now suddenly we realize, no, we haven't. We're coming back to the same thing. That is what I want to talk about. Are we really talking about democracy? Then Askari Saab said in the morning, define democracy. Rhetoric is something else. Rhetoric is populism. I have also been, my colleagues mostly are full-time academicians. I am not. But I have been adjunct faculty And I'm glad to see some of my students are here as well today. You see, if I don't challenge you in my class, and if I only get claps from you, then I would be unhappy. Because I haven't taught you anything. I've only reinforced what you already believed in. So then, what kind of a teacher am I? If I haven't challenged you. So, there's a linkage here with populism and democracy. Democracy is messy. It's loud. It's disruptive. It is meant to be. But then what is the medium through which this dialogue is going to be conducted? Taimur Khan Marwat. What is the medium through which it has to be conducted? In a civilized, in a nuanced, in a considered, well thought out, argumentative manner. The Parliament. That is the forum. When a law is passed, what happens? And I've taught for 18 years LLB at the University of London. What happens? There are stages for a law to be introduced in the Parliament. First stage, second stage, third. There are roughly 5 stages. What happens at the first stage? You just say there is going to be an amendment to the Climate Change Act, let's say. And I announce it, and it's put to the vote. If the House says we will discuss it, then it is sent to the committee. And the committee deliberates that. And the law is actually thrashed in the committee. And once those stages are done, then it is put before the Parliament again. And then the Parliament looks at it clause by clause. उस तरीके से पेश होती है. ऐसा नहीं होता कि आए बहस करते हैं क्लाइमेट चेंज के ऊपर लॉ पास करेंगे. वो बना बनाया बिल होता है, एक ड्राफ्ट बिल. जो भी उसको, और एम्बेसडर साहब बैठे हैं. I have also been head of Legal and Treaties Division at one point of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for 2 years as the legal advisor. So एक आधा लॉ इस साइड से भी गया. लॉ जो है, लॉ तो क्लॉज बाय क्लॉज होके थ्रेडबेयर होके होता है और फिर आप उस पर बहस करते हैं. So you give the Parliament time, and if somebody has an objection, some parliamentarian on your behalf. मुझे नहीं पता ये 125 है 124 है. ये जो representative है वो मेरा है. Now herein comes what I'm talking about. ये मेरे पे भी सरदार साहब मेरे पे भी रोटी का असर हो गया. मैं भी कभी आगे जाना कभी पीछे आना. Parliament, this is what I'm talking about. सुबह से जो बातें हो रही थी कुछ मेरे जहन में थी. मैंने कहा पहले मैं वहाँ से टोन सेट कर दूँ rather than just. So it's academic, but it's in that context. Parliament of Westminster versus the Athenian Ecclesia, or at Pinks. पहले वो अगोरा में होता था, फिर वो पिंक्स हो गया जो पहाड़ी थी, जहाँ सॉर्ट ऑफ कोलोसियम बना था. आप गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज के जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो कोलोसियम बना हुआ था. सो शी इन द पार्लियामेंट दे हैव 600+ MPs. और उस मुल्क की आबादी हमारी 24 करोड़ है, उस मुल्क की 12 होगी, 13 होगी, 14 करोड़ होगी. हर आदमी elected eligible voter cannot go and sit in the parliament. Whereas in Athens, every male adult, free Athenian had the right to vote, not women, not children, not slaves, not foreigners living there. So it was limited franchise, but they could all go and sit there, and demagogues who were masters of oratory, who could sway the audience with their zore-bayan. That is why oratory was taught, and they were called demagogues. अब हमने टर्म और है, उस demagogue का मतलब ये था कि जो लोगों को कंट्रोल कर सके. So they would have a speech, and the people would directly, that is what Hasan Askari Sahab Subha said, direct democracy. The voter would be sitting in the parliament and voting there and then. Come the 19th century, 18th century, you have resurrected democracy. And gradually, of course, he said, and he told you that gradually, it was in 1919 that women got the right to vote even in England. So you gradually have full adult franchise, and in Pakistan, of course, the first free, full adult franchise elections were held in 1970. So you have that. Now what is the issue? 24 करोड़ तो नहीं बैठ सकते ना, आपके 10 करोड़ या पता नहीं कितने तो वोटर हैं बीच में. So वो बैठेंगे तो कहाँ बैठेंगे? दिल में तो बैठने से रहे, कुर्सियों पे बैठाएंगे ना. So you have representative form of government, hence indirect democracy or representative democracy. So that's the difference. Direct democracy was there for a small state, and it has its trappings. Demagogues, oratory, sway the emotions. It had its benefits. But now you have representative, because you cannot possibly have all the voters go and sit there. Everybody who's over 18 cannot go and sit in the parliament. So you have representative democracy. Now what has that done? That has reduced, or that had reduced, the role of the orator and the demagogue and emotions. So emotions and debates could take place on the floor of the parliament within a structured manner, with the speaker acting as the manager, as the custodian of the house, or the chairman senate acting in that role. And you have those various stages where you can deliberate upon an act, whether it's hurriedly passed, it's an emotional response. Time was built in for the nation as a whole to ponder, to think, if this is how we want to, and what is a law? It is how we as a society, as a collectivity, wish and want to be governed in our own daily lives. We decide that through our representatives. So we want that to be well thought out, considered, looked at it from various points of view. You have discussion in the media, it's fine. You can go to the Senate, you have more senior people in the Senate. If they object, it comes back again. Then it goes to the president, because parliament, of course, you know, this is political science, so I should not be saying here, president is part of the parliament. He has to sign it. He can also delay it. Why is this delay and this structured debate built in? So that jaldi mein, jazbaat mein koi aisi cheez na ho jaye. Because it is a law for the whole country, and laws don't change like seasons. So this is, now let's see. Now this is what I'm saying. Now we have representative. It is much easier to appeal to the heart than to the mind. When we have populism and we have direct access to people through various mediums, the Athenians had, and now what do we have in that place? We have social media. So we have social media, for all I know, I don't know, मेरी बात साहब से बात नहीं हुई, हो सकता है ये live telecast हो रहा हो Facebook पे, YouTube पे. That's possible. हो सकता है मैं साथ साथ, अब ये रवाज है, पॉलिटिशियंस भी ये करते हैं, वो जा रहे होते हैं, साथ साथ उनकी टीम होती है, वो उस पर कर रहे होते हैं, लाइक्स कमेंट्स साथ साथ आ रहे हैं. You know? So you have the social media platforms, so many of them. There are live responses. It is much easier for me to appeal to your heart. 2-4 स्टॉक बातें मैं करूंगा, आप तालियां बजाएंगे. मुझे इतनी सेंस होनी चाहिए कि नब्ज कहाँ पे है, हाथ कहाँ रखना है. उससे इलाज नहीं होगा, मगर नब्ज पे हाथ कहाँ रखना है. It is much more difficult to appeal to the mind because that takes time. 2 minutes? I have 2 minutes. So this is what I'm saying. Direct democracy, representative democracy, and now this is where we are. Populist hybrid of direct and indirect forms of democracy. Which was my title. How can we see? Sardar Sahab just said that social media is here to stay. Populism is here to stay. How do we ensure it does not derail democracy in a way that its fundamental purpose is denied? To represent us, not to lead us. So this balance between direct participation and institutional resilience. Parliament has a function. Now what has happened? The leader, we see Trump, we see Modi. In Pakistan, we see also this has been used. And PTI has used it remarkably well. सो जो इन्होंने बात की, जो बैठे हैं, जो एलीट है और हम लोग अलग हैं, जो मीडिया है वो अमेरिका में ईस्ट कोस्ट वेस्ट कोस्ट को निकाल दें, CNN अच्छा नहीं है, वो बाकी लोग अच्छे हैं, इट इज़ अस वर्सेस देम। यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हार्वर्ड अच्छी नहीं है, कोलंबिया अच्छा नहीं है, पाकिस्तान में भी आपको वही वाली चीज़ नज़र आ जाएगी। सो इज़ इट रियली अ बैटल ऑफ ईवल एंड गुड, और इज़ इट इज़ अ मैटर ऑफ गवर्नेंस? सो पीपल, पॉपुलिज्म जो है उसमें तो इट इज़ meant to be a leader who's charismatic, who sways and takes you along. The heart, not the mind. Fine, this is the age we are living in, but are we still willing to put on some brakes on that or not? So मेरा क्योंकि टाइम ख़त्म हो रहा है, मैंने इन्होंने सरदार साहब ने एक बात की है. सरदार साहब of course is a wonderful man and very intellectually sound person. इन्होंने किया, and I'll pick up from his गोबेल को उन्होंने कोट किया था, इफ़ यू टेल अ लाई लॉन्ग इनफ, लाउड इनफ एंड ऑफ्टन इनफ, gradually people will begin to believe it. This is what social media does. It amplifies, it echo chambers. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad. But does lawmaking and governance require quick solutions or measured, well thought out solutions? That is how we have to see, and that is how we have to see कि ये जो फिनोमेना आ चुका हुआ है, इसको मेरा पेपर जो है हम इसको एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं कि हाउ कैन वी look at it, what are its aspects, and how can we look at it, accept it within that framework जहाँ पे parliaments are now becoming redundant because the leader is direct with the people, his messaging is direct. Modi has controlled it masterfully. Direct contact with people. That direct contact bypasses whom? The parliament. So that debate, that time lag is gone, which was important. So I will now just come to this is the point I was making, that bypassing the gatekeepers. Do we need the gatekeepers? Because they are after all acting on our behalf. Or do we depend upon one person, two persons, three persons, or do we depend upon 300, 600, 400, 500 people sitting in the parliament to speak on our behalf, or one or two charismatic leaders? So this is what we need to look at. But in view of time, I will stop here. Thank you very much.